Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Steven. I am in Houston for a little bit of a layover. I'm waiting for my Hot Logic Mini to heat up my dinner, and I figured I would chat with you guys for a little bit, mainly because after watching my video on testing, I had alluded, I noticed I had alluded to a video I had filmed about studying, and then realized I had never uploaded a video about studying. I filmed one, I just didn't like it. It was too long and too random, even for moi. I know, it was, it was a train wreck. So I figured while I have the time tonight and I am wide awake, I would share some of my experience studying. In particular, studying solo as an individual versus a study group. Pluses and minuses on both. So studying as a group. The first week or so, a lot of us made little packs, little cliques, you know, and we would maybe be 8 or 10 of us sitting around a big table, and we would be studying. We had something called study guides. We were given study guides, which was basically homework assignments. There'd be 4 or 5 sheets with questions all over. And in the end, I really think that what these study guides were, and this homework was designed to force us to actually open up our flight attendant manual, delve into the meat of it, and really have to learn how to find our way through it. The flight attendant manual, a FAM, excuse me, it's not just like a book. You can't just read it from cover. Well, you could. But the information that we needed wasn't just on, on sequential pages. It was frequently spread out across chapters or different sections of the book. So you had to learn how to use your FAM to find information you needed. And I think that's what this homework was designed to do, was to force us into the book. And so in these study groups, there's always 1 or 2 people, usually one guy, who was just... he was like a savant. I mean, the guy just knew immediately where to go in the manual for the right answer to a question. So, we'd be sitting there, a question, and we'd all be flipping through, looking through different chapters, and he would just find it. Hey, look in chapter 3, page 9, and there'd be the answer. And so we'd all write down the answer. And practically before we had read the next question, he's like, oh, hey, the next one's on chapter 6, page 15, figure 4. And so we'd all go and look for the answer, see it, and then write it down. And again, it would happen the next question. He knew where to find it, and we would follow him. I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't learning how to use my flight attendant manual. I was learning how to flip to a page that was pointed out to me to find the information and write it down. Not useful in the least. Did not help me. And I recognized that. So, when I found myself just writing down something someone else had said or pointed out, I kind of had to pull myself away, go back to my hotel room, or go find a nice quiet spot in the lobby and then work on my own homework. Learning how to use the flight attendant manual, which is imperative. If today someone on board had a medical and I didn't remember immediately what to do, I know how to find that information in the flight attendant manual like this. So it was not helpful for me in that case. Another situation that would arise in a group study environment was that, we'd all be sitting around this big table. It's, 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We're all studying or looking for information. And then someone says something funny. Someone says, oh, hey, did you hear who was in the hot tub earlier? And blah, blah, blah. And then someone orders a glass of wine. And then someone orders a pizza. And someone orders appetizers. And then pretty soon, it's a cocktail party. We're having a wonderful time. We're having a fantastic time. And we're building bonds that we would need to support each other through the course of the training. But in that particular instance where we were trying to study, it was a party. We weren't studying. I wasn't studying. I won't speak for them because some of them did fantastic just based on that study environment. But I was not focusing on the material. I was not learning anything. I was having a very nice time. Typically, traditionally, I tend to be a very solitary person. If you see me in action on the plane, you would never believe this, because I move up and down the aisle making friends, chatting, oh my God, having a great time. It's like I'm hosting a party. And people think I'm an extrovert, and sometimes I behave that way, but I'm really much more comfortable by myself. I tend to be very solitary, which is probably why talking to a camera is really easy. Hi, everybody. So that was an example, two examples of what was challenging about studying in a group at first. So I really had to learn how to study by myself. I had to learn how to study. If I could go back again before training, I would either go onto YouTube and type how to study for tests, because there's all sorts of techniques. I just didn't know. Again, it had been 30 years since I had been a student. You know what I mean? So as the weeks progressed, so week 2, week 1, week 2, week 3, beginning of week 3, I had come into my own. I was on my path of learning, and I had really stored a lot of information in my head. And much like at the gym, when I went to the gym, I had to be taught proper form, the proper exercises, and then, what to do, what not to do, so I didn't injure myself, of course. But then I had to exercise that information and actually lift the weights and do what I had to do to build the muscle I have. Very much the same thing with this information I got during the first couple weeks of training. I had acquired a lot of information, but now I had to learn how to exercise that information. So I started joining study groups again. And I would go into these study groups that were less about parties, because maybe other people too recognized that they were partying. But we would meet in a conference room. There'd be maybe 10, 15, 20 of us crowding a room. And we would do things like just throw random questions at each other, in an emergency situation. For an example, if a flight attendant in the rear of the aircraft is incapacitated, unconscious, whatever, what passenger would be expected and instructed in the situation to do what? In certain cases, if the flight attendant is gone, injured or whatever, some of the actual passengers are probably going to be asked to help in those situations. And there's a couple things they could do in certain roles. And so, one of the questions was, which person would do this in this case? And for some reason, that information stuck in my brain. And I'd say, oh, I got that. And I'd answer the question. And so it reinforced that I knew this information. And then someone would ask a question that, I thought I knew, but I didn't. I got the wrong answer. So I'd scribble down that question and the answer, and maybe force myself afterwards to go back and, look at that information again. So group studying was much more valuable after I had acquired most of the information. Does that make any sense at all? I hope so. I think the only other thing I would mention about studying is, and what I could do differently, is I might have put less stress on studying late night, because I would stay up until midnight in my bed with my flight attendant manual, sitting on a pillow, propped up. I'd sit there cross-legged, and I would just sit there and try to force information into my head nonstop. And at a certain point, I just kept looking at the same page over and over again. And it was midnight, and I had to wake up at 5 to take a shower and get ready for class. In the end, I really probably should have quit studying at like 11 and give myself a little bit of time before bedtime to actually wind down and then, prepare to go to sleep and re-energize my brain. So this clearly is not one of my longest videos, but those are some tips I would offer in terms of encouraging you to look at your style of learning. When you're in training, when you first start, try to recognize what works and what doesn't work for you. You might be the person who is in a study group and that is a perfect environment for you. You need that reinforcement or whatever. Or you might be like me, who was so easily distracted and so easily lost focus in a study group at first. But then once I had learned a lot of information, I found a study group to be really, really useful in terms of practicing using the information I had acquired. Oh, I like the way that sounds. So that's my little short video. Feel free to leave a comment below if there's any tips or tricks you had about studying, particularly for in-flight training, or questions, feel free. I love engaging with you folks in the comment section, so feel free, drop a comment. Like the video if you'd like. I don't know why you would share this one. This isn't probably a big sharing video, but certainly subscribe. I think the video I did last announcing that, should I tell you what that good news? I'm not going to tell you. I had good news. I had really good news. I made a video about it. It says something about good news, so go watch that one. And some future videos are going to be because of that good news. So subscribe so you see what that good news is about. And click on that little bell so you'll be notified whenever I do film and upload a new video. And there you go. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever it is where you are, and fly safe. Bye.